It is the best time of the week. It is Bird of the Week. We're joined with another edition of Bird of the Week Season 4 with Stacia Brzezinski from Maine Audubon, here to talk about the eastern meadowlark. Okay, before we get into this bird, Stacia, I have to tell a story.
Please.
So years ago, when I was a nature camper, we would go on big group hikes to hunt for the meadowlark in search of it, because we'd always talked about it, but no one could find or ID this bird, and we came up short. Every year we could never find the meadowlark in the local field. Why is that, Stacia? Is this a rare bird to see?
Well, yeah, their populations are in steep decline in a lot of their United States range, but they're also elusive. They live in grasslands, so for most of the time they're foraging on the ground and not trying to make their presence known.
Okay. Well, I would like to give a shout out to one of my former camp counselors who sent me photos for Bird of the Week this week of the eastern meadowlark, because we didn't have too many viewer pictures. Thanks, Connor Fox, for sending in these shots of the eastern meadowlark. So right off the bat, I noticed the yellow there. What are some other key characteristics of this bird?
They have quite long, pointy beaks. They're in the blackbird family, and they have that characteristic long triangular beak that they use to probe the ground.
Okay.
They also have quite long legs, as you'll notice, which helps them see above the grasses.
Now, I see a lot of speckles on them too.
So they're very well camouflaged. From above, they don't want to be seen.
I find it funny that you liken it in the same family as the blackbird, because when I first saw this bird, I thought it looks very similar to a female, a red-winged blackbird.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so a little, Where will we see them here in Maine?
So in Maine, you're going to want to look in agricultural fields. That's some of the remaining grasslands we have in Maine. And look in agricultural fields that aren't mowed, obviously. And the more native plants, the better. They fare better in just the different layers of native plants rather than a monocrop, which is all one level.
And what makes it a lark?
So funny enough, it's actually not a lark.
What?
We have one species of lark in Maine, the horn lark, that we see here in the winter. Yeah, they're in the blackbird family.
Okay, got it.
It's just one of those confusing bird names.
So eastern meadowlark, not a lark, but it has a beautiful call. I would almost liken it to a hermit thrush in a way.
It's a very pure kind of flute-like note. It's like 3 to 5 notes, sometimes shorter, sometimes a little longer. Usually one note slurring into the next, and usually descending.
And I want to give a shout out right now. These are photos from Tony Jadaro. So Tony did manage to capture some photos of the eastern meadowlark. When you're out there, what are they eating, Stacia?
They're eating buggies. So they have a fun feeding method where they take their beak, they probe it into the soil or the grass, and then they open it. Basically it's called gaping. So they point it towards the ground, and then they open it to spread the grass or to spread the soil, and that's how they forage. It's pretty cool.
And just like all bugs, what are we talking about?
Yeah, so a lot of crickets and grasshoppers, but they'll go for a lot of caterpillars and sawfly larvae, all sorts of little things.
And will we see the meadowlark all year round, or is this just a seasonal bird?
In Maine, they are just seasonal. They're here for the breeding season, and then they go down to the southern states. But a lot of the country, the mid and southern states, get them all year round.
And are there any other facts I didn't ask you about the eastern meadowlark?
Well, I think their molt strategy is really interesting. So birds have to grow new feathers every year because the old ones get worn. And many of them do it twice a year, but the meadowlark does it once. And you'll notice in the fall, they look a little bit more like buffy. That yellow's not as bright, and that's because the fresh feathers have kind of brown buffy tips. And then those tips wear off over the winter to reveal the bright yellow just in time for the breeding season in the spring.
So in our final minute of this specific bird of the week, have you seen the eastern meadowlark here?
I actually have not seen an eastern meadowlark.
I'm right there with you. So
they're tough. And I would encourage
Why is that? It's just like declining populations. What's hurting them?
Habitat loss, largely. Insect population loss, but habitat loss. So agricultural fields are where we see them the most. We always encourage farmers, if you have hay fields, to delay mowing until mid-August to give the second brood usually a chance to fledge so they can take off and be safe.
Okay, so it really just delaying harvesting because they need to
Yeah, they just got nests and babies in there. And there are some incentive programs that will pay farmers to delay mowing so that they can kind of recoup some of that loss.
Maine?
They do.
Okay. So your best chance is to just see them in any field in our state.
Yeah, looking in agricultural fields, or you can check sites like eBird to see where they've been spotted. That's usually a reliable strategy.
That's a good idea. But do you know if any have been spotted on the Gilsland Farm campus?
They used to nest at Gilsland Farm, and now the makeup of the field has changed. There are too many invasives, and it's not suitable habitat.
When you say invasives, like other bird species?
Plants.
Oh.
Invasive plants.
Oh, okay.
So it changes the structure, so it's just not suitable habitat. Kind of like getting an apartment that's so bad you just can't live there.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, Stacia, thank you so much for sharing the interesting facts of the eastern meadowlark. Yeah, guys, get out, try to find it out there.
Yeah, do your best. Send your photos if you get them.
Yes, please. We'll showcase them here on ARC Maine. By the way, our next bird of the week is the black-capped chickadee. If you have photos of the black-capped chickadee, please submit them on Chime In with #BirdOfTheWeek.